Today is the feast of Saint Alexander, one of the feasts of the day today. So anyone with the name Alexander or Alexandra, today is their feast day in the church on August 30th. Today we also heard on this Sunday of Matthew, this 12th Sunday of Matthew, a gospel reading that is referred to many times as the gospel of the rich young man. The rich young man, it says, approached Christ with great humility, and he asked him what he would have to do to inherit eternal life. Firstly, I think it is worth noting that just the fact that this man was thinking about this is interesting. Perhaps it's something that we don't think often enough about. Kind of refocusing and self-examining and seeing where we find ourselves. Are we in a good place? Do we need assistance spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, physically? And Christ answers him and he says, there's an exchange about being good, which we've discussed other times, and for the sake of time, we won't touch upon today. He responds to him and he says, you know what to do. You have to follow the commandments. Remember, in this time, the commandments were the greatest teaching, the only real teaching about life. And he said, which commandment specifically? And he says, all of them. Don't commit murder, don't steal, honor your parents, and love your neighbor as yourself. For us Orthodox Christians, these things haven't changed. To love our neighbor as ourselves is so important. I've mentioned a few weeks ago that we're seeing a lot of social movement and unrest. And for us Orthodox Christians, it doesn't make sense because it's a given that we are expected to love everyone as ourselves, that we are supposed to see Christ in everyone. What scares me about some of these movements is that we're trying to create a perfect world with zero God. God is not mentioned at all. There's no spirituality, there's no religion, there's no faith. And I fear that this creation, this attempt to create a perfect world without God, like many before, will fail. The truth is that just listening to the gospel today, we as Orthodox Christians have a responsibility to try to do good, to try to be loving people. And if everyone started with themselves, there would be very few problems in this world. I was laughing because, there's this thing in November, the election. I don't believe how much time people spend arguing on social media. You're not going to change anyone's mind on Facebook or on Instagram. We're wasting our time with things that don't matter. You want to make a difference in the world? Go do something good. We're not going to change someone's mind by posting pictures or messages or having nasty exchanges on social media. It doesn't matter which political party you prefer. It goes for all of us. Do good first, and the right things will happen. The rich young man today said, I do all those things already. And from what we can tell in the tradition of the church, he wasn't lying. He was actually very strict at following the rules. However, he had a problem. He was very connected to his possessions, to his wealth. And Christ, of course, knew this, and he said, well, there's one more thing you can do to guarantee yourself eternal life. And he said, sell what you have and give it to the poor and follow me. And the man, of course, was sad because this was a hard thing for him to do. The point here is not that people that are successful are not going to heaven. What Christ was telling this person was, are you able to give me your heart? Are you able to give me your life? And if you are too connected to something else, so connected to something else, that we minimize and forget about Christ, it's problematic. It's not that money is the problem. It's not that any of these things are the problem. It's when our attachment and our love for something else goes to a point where it erases Christ within us. Therefore, we are called today to start small. I don't know if any of us are able to say with boldness what the rich man said, that I already do all those things. For all of us, I believe that at times it's a challenge to follow even the basic commandments. So let us try to start there. Let us try to spread our love. Let us try to do good. Let us try to see Christ in all people and to see people as our neighbor. But most of all, let us try to change ourselves rather than changing, forcing everyone around us to change. Amen.